Hi everybody, this is Carl with CB Koi, Carl and Debbie. We've been asked by our friends, our koi friends, to do a video on our small breeding operation here in Menifee, California. If you don't know where Menifee is, it's next to a town that's a little bit bigger, Temecula, California. And these two towns are located between San Diego and Los Angeles, about 19 airline miles from the Pacific Ocean, right behind Camp Pendleton, if there are any Marines out there. You're looking at our 35,000 gallon mud pond with a liner. We had, when we dug this, there's one of our cats. When we dug this, we filled it, and as it filled, it diffused out of the pond as quickly as we got the water in. So we had to we tried bentonite clay, that didn't work, so we finally had to line it. But it's worked good for the last 4 years. We grow out most of the koi here. There's no filtration. It's all natural. We've got microbes, nymphs, larvae, tadpoles, plenty to eat. We grow our fry in filtered ponds and also this pond. And in this pond, they grow 2 to 3 times faster and larger in a natural pond with all those microbes. So we're going to start our whole system with our power, what powers this small little operation. And then from there we're going to go to the water source, and that water source is in that building that you see in front of you. That's our well. We'll get to that. So let's walk over to where we get our power to power all this. We have a solar system with 32 panels, and the capacity, the output daily is about 11 kilowatt hours. And if to the left there, you can see, Debbie, if you pan to the left, you can see the solar panels. Most of you know how they're made up. Solar cells in series, and then they put the panel in series. And it all builds up, and once we get to it, I'll show you. Let's walk up to it here.
It's dirty metal.
We just had them cleaned. We clean them about maybe every 2 months. But you can see here these individual cells. They're all in series, and they all add up. The electrons start moving through, and then they're connected. Each panel's connected to each other all the way through. And in the back here, you'll see where all the electrical lines come out. And when you let's see if you can see here. Here's a little box, and before they had one big box called an inverter that would take the direct current and change it to alternating current, because we use alternating current in our house. But now they've got individual inverters, little ones, for each panel instead of having one massive one. So all of it is collected, and it's brought to this line here through this box, through this conduit, and then from here it goes all the way to our panel on our home there. So we've got all this power that generates power for the domestic use in our house. We have a big shop in the back, and all the ponds, all the filters, the aerators, and we're going to walk up to the next major part of our system, and that's the water. We could not have this operation if we did not have solar panels and an inexpensive water source. We've got 5 ponds, and the power to run them is extremely expensive. This little house houses our wellhead. Let me open it up for you here. Let me show you how it works here. This is the wellhead here. You can see the big steel pipe coming up. Now this well goes down 300 feet and it brings up about 12 gallons per minute. And from this pipe here that comes up goes through this pressure tank, and this pressure tank pushes it throughout the property. And here's our power source here that comes in to power all this and power our big 35,000 gallon mud pond, which we'll see in a second here. I want to show you the water comes in. It goes in through this pipe into the mud pond. Here's our aerator. It's quite big. I'll turn it on so you can see how a bigger aerator works. There it goes. Let's look at the pond. Let's walk over here now. You can see the air coming up quite strong. You know, like I said, it's 35,000 gallons, so you need a lot of air. We don't run this 24/7. We run it for 3 hours. We run it for a half an hour every 3 hours, 24/7. And that's it would be expensive to run it like most people, like we run our small aerators for our smaller ponds. And it's worked well. You can see that the algae is in the water. The microbes are thriving in it, and the koi are thriving. They get very large. Let's go on and show you how we water the landscape from this pond. The water comes up from 300 feet, is pumped right here. You see where it comes out here? In fact, Debbie, why don't you stay there and I'll turn this. This pond is drained and refilled about 10-15% capacity once a week. That's what keeps everything fresh. Zero ammonia, zero nitrate. The nitrates are sent out with the weekly water changes, and the algae consume a lot of the nitrate, and our plants that we have in here. It's in balance. The koi have done well for 3 years. They get really large here. Our fry, when we put them in here, when they hatch out in early May, by October, November, they're 7-8 inches in this pond. Now in our line pond with filtration, they only get about 4 to 5 inches. But, you know, we hand feed those, and these eat all day long. Let's come down here and I'll show you how we drain this. We do it by gravity flow. We have this pipe here, and you can see all the trees down here, all the trees. All the trees are watered. That way, no pump. We have a pump at the other end of this pipe, 4,500 gallon pump. We can pump that mud pond dry in about 5-6 hours. We don't need to do that except once a year when we drain it and clean it up. We clean it up once a year. And weekly we just irrigate all these trees and shrubs with the mud pond, and the nutrients in the mud pond, gravity fed, so we don't have to turn the power on. So what I'll do is we'll move on from here to the next phase of our system. Okay, from here, the water goes from the pump house there through a pipe to the fence line there, and we're going to walk down to the next part of the system, which is the filtered pond. You can see to the left there, along the fence line, is where the main pipe goes, and it delivers water to the entire property, the house here, and also the ponds, which we'll see here in a minute. Okay, in front of you there is one of our major ponds, and this is where we have all our breeders. We have mainly Gosanki. We breed mainly Gosanki and Yamabukis and Deutsch. Our breeders are Gosanki are all Sakai. The Sirotsuri there, we've got one female, 3 males. Omosako bloodlines, and you can see the Yamabuki Ogons. Now the water comes from there down the fence line. You can see some of our Daphnia cultures in the greenhouse there. We have a few fry growing in there now from our May breeding. The fry that we have going right now will be placed in this empty tank when they're about a month old, and we'll grow them out to 4 or 5 inches, and some will go in the mud pond. Right now we have a lot of the fry in this tank here, but let's go to the filtering system. Like I said, we're following the water from the time it comes up 300 feet from beneath, that's tapped into an aquifer. Let's look at the filtering system here. We have the water coming into the pond. In this pond, it's about 3,000 gallons, 3,500 gallons. This is we've got 2 bottom drains that come in here into this pump, into this bead filter, and into the shower filters over there, and then back into the pond. And we've got about 20 fish breeders in there now, and this system works fine. We very seldom have to do any maintenance. We backwash once a week. We backwash the filter once a week. We've got mats on top of the shower filters, and they collect what is not taken out of the water. You can look in there and see all the muck that is accumulated, and that is kept from going back into the filter, the shower filters, and back into the pond. And I'm telling you, our water is super clean, and we have no problems. And it's simple, it's inexpensive, and the maintenance is very little. All we do is backwash the bead filter once a week, take those 2 mats out, power wash them, and put them back. It takes maybe 20 minutes. From here, where's the water going? Okay, well, we've got 4 ponds upright, not counting the mud pond. We got 4 ponds, all with bead filters like this, and they all come out through the exit, and they go into a piping system that we're going to go see next. We're going to go down this direction. Here's some of our Tosai here, always hungry. as all of you know. They never want to stop eating.
These were all born here. This is last year's crop.
That's an inactive pond. We'll use that when the fry get a little bit bigger. We've got 2 ponds that we don't use all the time, only during phases of growth to save on the finance end. There's our panel system. This is a pedestal for the domestic use, and this is all the solar stuff here. It comes from the panels up this pipe here into the solar system, into the domestic panel. And where does the water go after all the ponds and the effluent coming out of the ponds? Where does the water go? Well, it doesn't go back into the ground yet. It goes into our vineyard, delivering all those nutrients, and then it goes into fruit trees. Let's walk into the vineyard here and show you what we're growing. We've got 3 types of table grape. We've got the white grape, our perlettes. I'll show you here our Thompson seedless. Here's a nice cluster right here. They're about, in the next few days, this one you'll be able to pick this, harvest it. Here's some more up here. And this all comes from the effluent, the nutrients that come from the effluent of the koi. Here's our other type. This is the brown grape, and we also have the black Maruca grape. So the water, let's walk down to the end, Debbie, and show you where the water comes out of those filtering systems. Okay, Debbie, if you stop here, you can see, if you turn around, you look here, here's one port. Each row of grapes has a port, and when we backwash every week with the filters, some come out here and some come out at the other place we'll show you in a minute. But each line of grapes, row of grapes, has a port, and all the water comes from the ponds when we backwash them. Let's go up here to the other end of the vineyard. Okay, you can see here, this little box to your left, Debbie. This little box here houses our valves, so we can adjust the water flow in these 2 piping systems. Here's the port for this grape line, and behind you, you can see down, here's the other one, there's the other one, there's 4 or 5 lines here. When we backwash the other ponds, small ponds, the effluent comes out here. Let's walk down to the fruit trees. This is the vineyard. Now here we have 3 plum trees, and there's the port that waters this line. Okay, and down here, over here to the left, Debbie, we have another port that waters this entire line of mandarin oranges. You can see how healthy and green the leaves are. Being in Southern California right now, we're in our summer. It's been extremely hot. It's done some damage to the grapevines. The Temecula wine industry is having trouble with the heat. And here's a cluster of the black grapes here. You can see here, there's the black grape, the black Maruca, the brown grape and the white grape, and this one. This is really a delicious grape. You find those in a supermarket. It's the black and brown and white grape. These are all mandarin oranges down here. And over here we have our fig trees. and they're about ready to be picked. You can see here we have there's so many varieties of figs. I don't know the names of them. I just go by color. I'm not a fig expert, but this is a white fig, delicious. Here's another fig that is white. It gets large, the size of almost, some of them get the size of a small plum, and they're about ripe. They're going to ripen up here. Some have already ripened, that you can see here. And of all the figs, Debbie, you want to come this way? Of all the figs, we have a favorite, and that's this one here. And this is the striped fig. Like I said, these will be ripe here. Look at all these. These are absolutely delicious. They are a reddish, candy apple, red, purple flesh. They're just absolutely delicious. Distinct taste. And then, last but not least, we have our Kalamata olive trees. And this tree, we cure our own olives. And this tree is loaded with fruit. You can see there. And it's just loaded with fruit. And there's enough here to harvest and process till you have a whole year of olives just off of this one tree, and it's a young tree. And over here is the other one. This one doesn't produce. I don't know why, but it just doesn't produce like this one. It never has. But I guess every member of each species is different. Well, that kind of concludes everything. To sum it up, that's a apricot tree there, and this is a plum tree, Santa Rosa plum here. So, to sum it all up, our water comes up from 300 feet. It is hard water. It's high in alkalinity, which is, you can see some ripening apricots right there in the middle of that tree there. The hard water, it looks like it's been good for our sumi and our fish and Benny. The problem with the hard water, it's hard on the eggs, or the fry when they hatch out of the eggs. We have a lot of loss because of the hard water. So the water comes up from 300 feet. The water comes up from 300 feet, goes through all the ponds, collects all the waste, and then comes into the vineyard here and into the fruit trees. And guess where it goes? Right back down to where we picked it up, down 300 feet. So we don't waste anything. We borrow the water temporarily. We use more than we put back, but it drives our small koi breeding operation, and takes care of the fruit trees in the vineyard. So this is Carl with CB Koi. You might want to subscribe and look at our series of breeding this year and our upcoming videos that we have to offer here. Have a good day, everybody.